So, here we are. Season 5 of Lost. We've made it to Season 5, where the show starts to jump the shark a little bit. So, this is a weird one because I don't need to start off this season with any new additions to the main cast because there isn't any. Everybody comes back from the past season with the exception of Emily DeRaven as Claire, and obviously Harold Perrineau is also gone as Michael. So, in this season, I don't know what you would call it. They're not flashbacks or flash forwards. Well, in a way they are. But they're not the flash sideways that we get next season. We'll get to those. But anyways, we ended last season with the basically it's this. It's you have Locke, Miles, Faraday, Sawyer, Charlotte, and Juliet still on the island. Bernard, Rose, Frogurt, all the other survivors, and the others, they're on the island. Our main Oceanic 6, which in this picture also includes Ben and Desmond, are on the mainland. Ben is on the island until he decides to move it. And we saw a flash forward in season 4 that showed that he got off the island too, so there's that. But the whole thing with last season in the flash forwards was they're mentioning Jeremy Bentham. Who is this guy? Why is he so important? Why is his death make Jack want to return? Even though in this season they imply he was trying to return before his death, but I think it's after his death he really, we need to go back, Kate, we need to go back. And yeah, Jeremy Bentham is revealed at the end of the season 4, to be Locke. And the problem with that is, in season 4, during the flash forwards, they refer to him as Jeremy Bentham, or Bentham. Now, the first scenes of season 5 has Hurley and Sayid calls him Bentham, and then Hurley's like, "You mean Locke?" "Yes, I mean Locke." And then, boom, Bentham is gone. Now, the audience knows who he is. We no longer need to cover up his name. And that's just a big, And I don't like what they did with the post lives, so to speak, like off the island lives. They were supposed to be free from all the bad things from the island. And it seems like they made their home lives miserable so they'd have to go back to the island. You know what I mean? Sayid finally gets with Nadia, and she's murdered, although in season 6 in a flashback, we find out, even in this season, we find out it's not murder. She gets accidentally hit by a car, even though Ben tells Sayid it was with more, but it wasn't. It was a car accident. That's all. And then you have Kate, who is being pursued by this lawyer, who finds out was hired by Ben. And I guess you could say, that's trying to force her to go back to the island. But then she decides to go back to the island because she's going to try to find Claire, who is not in this season. Then you have Sun, who, for all intents and purposes, is the only one who doesn't really have a reason to come back. Her home life isn't really affected by this. She has her daughter. She thinks Jin is dead. But then Ben shows the ring, which ironically was given to Locke to show that he was dead as proof that he's alive. And then you have Jack, who just became an alcoholic for some reason because he feels guilt for leaving them. I don't know. And yeah. Then we got the island. People on the island, right? Like, we chronicle everyone trying to get back. That's cool. We got people on the island traveling through time now to different places. And it's cool we get to see some stuff we already heard about in previous seasons. We get to see Rousseau and her group come to the island and have their first encounter with the smoke monster. And Jin is the only one that's with them. Now, there have been questions to a couple of flashbacks concerning Rousseau. One, why wouldn't she recognize Jin when she saw him back in season 1? And then we see that it's Ben who steals baby Alex from her. Why wouldn't she recognize Ben when she saw him? Well, for Ben, he's mostly secluded in shade, in darkness, in the shadows, so it would be difficult. Jin, I don't know. Then again, how long has it been since she'd seen him? I mean, Ricardo, or Richard, it seems to be the only one with longevity on this island. He never ages once. We find out more about that in season 6. But, yeah. So, they're traveling through time. And they're going to different places. And, look, I don't know why they wrote this kind of mechanism into the show. I don't hate it, but it all seems like they wrote it in there as a reason to kill off Charlotte. Because she's the only one really affected by this. I mean, they all get nosebleeds and stuff and headaches as they're starting to go through this thing. But she's the only one that dies. And she dies, then Locke goes back down just before she dies, just as she dies, and changes things. So it's almost like as soon as Charlotte dies, everything goes back to normal. And then her body is gone because I'm assuming that they can't move. The time only moves living tissue, and only those of the group who's living. And then we got the people, the Oceanic 6 or 5 of them, are going on this plane, Nigeria Airways. And they're told to go on this plane. And they're told that this plane will take them to the island. And it does. Only Jack, Hurley, Kate, and Saeed end up in 1977. Where, 3 years earlier in 1974, that's where our team on the island were stuck. And so now, in 1977, they have become accustomed to this life within the Dharma Initiative. And, okay, so I got a question in the writing here. The whole thing from the first half of this season was that there's something important that's going to happen. It's very important for the oceanic survivors on the mainland to get back to the island. Like, it's very, very important that there's destiny, there's something going on. And then they write that our people left on the island are now living with the Dharma Initiative. They have essentially gotten themselves a life. They're living normal lives. They're fine. Yes, the Dharma Initiative is going to die eventually because Ben kills them all, but that's still years in advance because Ben was an adult. We get an implication here that, okay, so, and I'm still trying to go through this. Faraday says that you can't interfere with anything. Like, they can't try to stop something from happening because it's already happened. It's going to happen no matter what they do. Right? So, Desmond's the only exception. He goes to Desmond back when he was, still in the hatch, and he tells him to go to find his mother, which is Eloise Hawking, which we find out is an other back in the past, which is played by 2 different actresses, but that's fine. And then we find out Charles Widmore is his father, and spoiler alert, Faraday dies. And that's another thing. Why my favorite characters have to die? I liked Charlie, and then Charlie died, and then I go, okay, I like Faraday. He dies. By his own mother, by the way, younger version of his mother, but he still dies. Why? Because they didn't need him anymore? It's just... who knows? But Faraday's plan is to drop a hydrogen bomb to, make it explode. I can't remember the word. A hydrogen bomb in the Swan Station and destroy it. It will destroy the island too, but it'll stop Oceanic Flight 815 from landing on the island. Now I'm a little confused because I always thought, hey, they talk about the incident. There was an incident that happened that caused them to put the button that they had to push. And I said, this is the incident. But watching this episode leading into it, what was going to happen? Something was happening before they even decided to detonate the bomb. Before they even detonated the bomb. And again, I have to question the writing here. They have this guy, played by Eric Lang, whatever, Sikowitz from Victorious, and he keeps telling them to keep on drilling no matter what. So essentially, the writers are telling us this was going to happen, whether they detonated the bomb or not. The incident was going to happen. So they're telling us, basically what Faraday said, no matter what happens, this was always going to happen. And I think that even this explosion of the bomb is what caused the oceanic flight. Like, it didn't matter. I mean, yes, the hydrogen bomb would have destroyed the island completely. But, I don't know, it's complicated. But then we have more complications because while Kate, Hurley, Saeed, and Jack ended up in 1977, Sun, Ben, Locke, and the rest of the plane survivors all ended up on in the present time. And I do this for Locke because it's not Locke. It's something else. Someone else, which we'll get to. And he is concerned with finding Jacob. So Ben can kill Jacob. And I'm sorry, everything we see from Christian Shepherd showing them the picture of them of their friends in the 70s, to Ben seeing an apparition of Alex within the smoke monster down in the temple. It's all this person. This person, who would later be named the Man in Black, has been orchestrating everything from the beginning. From the first time we see Christian Shepherd in the first episode, or maybe it's the episode White Rabbit. From the first time we see him see Christian Shepherd on the island, it's been the Man in Black. He's been Yemi. When Echo was talking to him, he's been various, dead versions of characters. He's the one who took Claire, as we find out in season 6. It's been him orchestrating stuff from the beginning. I even put money on the fact that he was the one who, when Locke and Ben went to the cabin, shook all the other stuff and said, "Help me." It was him. And he's the one who told Locke to go, to do this, to move the island, to do that. Because he was setting forth something that would happen. He set everything up so we could take John Locke's form. Because they find his body. There are people working for Jacob. And they have Locke's body. And this is not Locke. Despite the fact that they keep calling him Locke for the rest of the series, he's not Locke because the writers refuse to give him a name other than the Man in Black, even though at a Comic-Con supposedly his name is Barry. I would wager that a better name would be Adam. These Jacob, Adam, biblical names. I'm just saying. So, yes, and Ben does kill Jacob, who's played by Mark Pellegrino. Most of the finale is dedicated to showing us that at one point in our survivors' lives, at least the main characters' lives, and then the Bernard or Charlie or anything. Even though their names are scratched out later, we see in season 6. But anyway, he has interacted with them at one point. He's there at the funeral for Sawyer's parents. He's there when John is pushed out of the building. He's there when Jack has that surgery that he tells Kate about in the first episode. He's there when Hurley gets out of jail, and he's the one that sends him to the plane. He's there at Sun and Jin's wedding. He's there. You know, we're implied he's been watching over them. I've always seen it as Jacob was hands off, hands free. He had no effect on anything that happened since they came to the island. He's always been the Man in Black manipulating everything. He was the smoke monster. He was the dead people they would see. The only thing I can figure out was that Jacob was the dead. All of a sudden in this season, Hurley can see dead people. And I'm thinking, that's Jacob. That's the only thing I can think of. Because it wouldn't be the Man in Black because he can't leave the island. But Jacob is shown that he can leave the island. So I think Jacob has been these dead people talking to Hurley, trying to help him. Yes, he needs them to come back to the island too, because he needs people on his side to go against the Man in Black. That's what it's leading to. And they were sent back to the 1970s because the island needed them to be there. I guess. To bring the other people back. I guess. So yes. And this season ends. So we're shown, one more thing I gotta mention is that Sawyer and Juliet become very romantic. And they have their own little life together within a Dharma Initiative. And once the other guys come back, you know it's all gonna go to shit. And Danny wants to detonate the hydrogen bomb. And so they do it. You know, after holding up these people. Miles even gets to meet his father, who he was told was a bad person, but he's actually not. But they throw the hydrogen bomb, it's a little thing, the whole thing, in there. Nothing happens. Other than Juliet dies, and it's an emotional scene. I cried, I'll admit that. Because the actors, they do such a great job with it. And then Juliet gets down there and she sees that it's still there. So she's hitting a rock on it. And I remember when this season aired. Because when this happens, boom! White. And then Lost comes up and you go, oh, son of a bitch! That's how they're going to end it. We're not going to see anything happens afterwards. That's how they're going to end it. ABC was good at cock blocking. Because, we get the people on the plane, right? The episode was people that get on the plane, stuff starts to happen, and they go back to the island. We see we see Hurley, Kate, and Jack in the lagoon where Paolo and Nikki, where Paolo find the suitcases and stuff in season 3. They're in that lagoon. And then Jin pulls up, and they go, Jin, and it ends. We're like, oh my god, we can't wait till next week to find out what happens. And next week is a complete episode about Locke's journey to the back, to talk to every single one of people, even Walt. And yeah, that episode is all about Locke going to. We never once go back to that. I think we see flashes of the main, the current time island, but we don't get anything from 1977 because they're waiting on that. That's an episode afterwards. So it's a big cock tease waiting for us. I said cock block. It's a big cock tease waiting for us to see what happens with them and interaction and stuff. A whole entire episode. We gotta wait 2 weeks technically, but. Yes, and I'm gonna stand on saying that these seasons of Lost work better with shorter episodes. Season 3 was such a mindfuck with all of the filler they had in that. This was like maybe 17, 18 episodes. Goes so much quicker. It's so much easier. There's not as much filler. Yeah, there's a lot of Dharma stuff, but you know. Oh, also I should point out, Saeed shoots young Ben. Try to change the future. And in this case, They take him to the others, and maybe not, that makes him evil Ben in the future. I don't know. But anyway, this season is actually pretty good. We get to season 6, there's going to be a lot of shit spewing, but here, not too bad. So what are your thoughts on season 5 of Lost? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty. We'll see you in the next one.